Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi themed video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We've got another little hover effect for you today. And we've got a little image with an icon in the top left hand side there. When we hover over the icon, it's going to spread out and reveal some text and content there. Really easy to do. We've got to do a tiny bit of coding for this today, but don't let that put you off. Any coding that I write I'll put below the video as usual, and you're welcome to use it and manipulate it as you wish. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is enable the Visual Builder. Once enabled, I'm going to go down, let's create a new row and we'll start from scratch. I'm going to use 2 columns, but use whatever you wish for yours. I'm going to insert a blurb module. Divi as standard comes with all these light grey modules here, plenty enough to build just about any site. If you've got WooCommerce installed, you also get a dozen more for displaying your products. So like I say, I'm going to use the blurb because it's got an icon in it. Put your title in there and content here. Like any content box, you can bold, italicize, make titles if you want to, add media, add links to things. I'm going to leave mine just as it is. Now image and icon wise, here's the actual one we've added right here. I want to use an icon rather than an image, so I'm going to go into image and icon, still under content tab. I'm going to switch this one to on. Let's go down and choose an icon that's appropriate. Really doesn't matter, choose what you wish. And there it is. Okay, I don't want to link this to anything, but if you did, this is where you'd put the link. And you can have the title and the module link separately. Best practice, if you're linking to your own site, always keep it in the same window. If you're linking to somebody else's or off-site, put it in a new tab so your site stays open. Okay, going on down, I'm going to go ahead and give it a dark background. In fact, I'm just going to use a black right there. And Divi, as usual, has got a color palette. If you hit the little 3 dots underneath, you get more colors to choose from, and it's handy if you've been using recent colors. You can go to recent and they'll be there for you. But for me, I'm just going to use the black for this today. Okay, great. Alright, well let's move on. I'm going to go over to the design tab now. Now image and icon at the top. Icon color, I'm going to make that white. But I want it on the left hand side over here so we can display it at the top. So just down below, I'm going to hit that to left. And there's options to circle the icon if you want to, give it a color background, but I'm going to leave mine just as it is. If you want to make it bigger or smaller, you can use the icon font size. I'm pretty happy with the way that is at the moment. I don't think I want to make that any bigger. Moving on down to text, the next one. I want to make our text light. That's fine. And you can change the title text, body text. Let's make the title text bold perhaps. There we go. And Divi as standard comes with a ridiculous amount of fonts. There are literally hundreds of fonts here to choose from. Just hover over one and it gives you an example of what that font looks like. But I'm going to stick with the default for this. And of course you can italicize, capitalize, center, justify, change whatever color you want, letter text size, spacing, line height, all the usual sort of text options that you get with most modules. Okay, and you can style the body text individually. So we've got the title text here, we've got the body text there. Again, I'm going to leave mine just as it is, but you've got all those options once again. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just save this for a minute and we'll come back and do some more design in a minute. Now if you watch many of my other hover videos for Divi, especially if there's an image involved, the way it works is the image itself resides in the column that our module's sitting in. So we've got our green tab here with 2 columns in it and a dark tab which is the actual module. So if we go back into the green tab for the row, hit the little cog to get in there, here's 2 columns and we've got column 1 here and column 2 here. So we're working on column number 1 here. So I'm going to put an image background in. So I'm going to go down to background on this first column here. We'll go ahead and select an image. You've got color, gradient, image or video. Let's just use this one. Now you can't see it because it's behind here. But what I'm going to do now is write just one little line of code, and I'm going to make our little column a fixed height. So we can display an image that's kind of this shape. Doesn't have to be exact, but get it the shape that you want. So I'm going to go over to Advanced tab, still in this first column. I'm going to go down to Custom CSS. In the main element, I'm going to write height. And let's say 350 pixels. Like I say, adjust yours to what you need there. Semicolon. Now we can see our image. And this is the shape that our image is going to be right here. Alright, now we can see what's going on. Now I'm going to adjust this so it covers our whole image here, and I might give it a bit extra even so it falls out the bottom there. But so we don't see it falling out the bottom there, I'm going to enable or disable visibility. So still in the Advanced tab, I've gone into Visibility, Horizontal Overflow. So anything that overflows this way, hidden. And vertical overflow, anything top or bottom that spills out. And if you're giving it extra or using extra padding and stuff, this is great for hiding that. So I'm going to hide both of those. And we're good to go with our column. Okay, let's save the changes. And save the main row changes and go back into our little module. Alright. So let's see what we want. When we're not hovering over it, all I want to see is this little icon up here. And then when we hover over it, I want it to expand, fill the image, and reveal the text. So let's go over to our Design tab. I'm going to go down to Spacing. And I'm going to give it some padding. Let's give it 15 pixels. And again, just adjust yours to what you need. And 15 pixels left. There we go, that's great. We can make a square out of that in a minute. I'll show you exactly how. Okay, that's really all I need for that setting, but when we hover over it, I want it to fill out the whole of the content. So again, this is common to most Divi modules. If you hover over the dark writing, you'll see some icons appear. If there's a little arrow, click on it, and you can set a regular state when the mouse is not on it, and a hover state when the mouse is on it, obviously. Now when the mouse is on it, I want a lot more padding. Let's perhaps give it 100, and we'll do the same for the bottom. Just hit the little link there. Not quite enough. Let's make that 120 because I want it to cover the whole of that image right there. There we go, that's done it, that's fine. And also let's give it some padding on the right hand side. We'll leave the icon where it is. So I want a bit of padding just over here. So let's give that 50 pixels. That's fine. So we've got that is how it's going to reveal initially. Obviously you change yours to how you want it, but that's how I'm going to have mine. And when we're not hovering over it, we've got this. But what we've got to do is shrink this up so we just see the icon. And it's pretty easy to do. Let's close up our spacing. And we'll go into sizing just above it. And let's take the width down. As you can see, as I'm taking the width down, it's shrinking and shrinking, shrinking. A little bit too much. Now it's got 12% there. I actually want to use pixels because if we leave it as 12% on different screens, it's going to be different sizes. So let's use pixels and let's guess, I don't know, 70. It's a little too much and we can still see that content there. Let's take it down to 60. Yeah, that looks about right. We seem to have a similar amount left as we do right, but we want to get rid of that title and we'll do that in a minute. So if it's 60 wide, we want to make it 60 tall too. Here's the height, same thing. We're going to hover over. Desktop. Let's make it 60. Just put in the 60, it'll put in the pixels for you. Could add a little bit more actually. That icon's taller than it is wide, obviously. Something like that. That looks about right to me. Obviously adjust to taste. Now we need to get rid of this text. But before we do that, we set the hover state for desktop. And hover, we want to make sure it's 100%, so it's going to cover all of the area. So I'm going to, for the hover, I'm going to type in 100%. There we go, that's great. Now I'm going to actually copy that, go down and do the same thing for the height down here. Hover, make sure we got it on 64 there, that's great. Hover, I want it to be 100%. There we go, so it's covering our whole image right there. Great. So what we need to do now is get rid of this bit that's overflowing from our element right here. And it's the same as our column. If we go to Advanced, Visibility, here's our horizontal and vertical overflow. I'm going to make that hidden. That way anything over 60 pixels will not be seen. So we're left with a little icon there. Fantastic, just what we want. Alright, the only other thing I really want to do here is just adjust the timing a little bit. The default time for it to go from regular to hover state in Divi is 300 milliseconds, which is pretty quick, just under a third of a second. I like to slow it down for a bit of drama. So while we're in the Advanced tab, let's close up the visibility. We'll go down to Transitions, and we're still in the Blurb module. Transition duration, I'm going to take it maybe to half a second, maybe a little bit more. Don't want any delay, want it to happen straight away as they hover over that icon. And my favorite speed curve for this is ease in and ease out. They're all slightly different. Some will work better than others in certain situations. But for most of my hover effects, I like to use the ease in and ease out. So let's save this. Actually, before we save this, there's one more thing I want to do. I'm going to go to the Content tab. At the moment, we've got a black background on both desktop and hover state. So that's going to be black. And this is going to be black. I'd actually like to see a bit of the image through there when we hover over it. So I'll leave the desktop as totally black, but when we hover on it, I'm going to take the opacity down just slightly, this little variegated slider just on the right here, so we can see a bit of the image through it, but I still want to be able to read that text. So there's a hint of the image behind there, but we can still clearly read that text, which is great. Alright, well if we've done everything correctly now, this should work for us. Let's save the changes. Save the page changes. Save draft or publish if you're ready. And let's exit the Visual Builder. And let's go down to the one we just made. There's our little padlock icon. Nothing's going to happen when I hover over the image itself, but when I hover over the icon, it's going to drop down. And this will work fairly responsively. You might need to go in to your tablet version and adjust it, give it a little bit more padding. Great thing about Divi is it will let you adjust things on tablet and mobile separately. I'll just demonstrate that for you. Now before I go into this module, you may have this little issue. As we've moved this and made it very small, it's actually made the little dark tab of the Blurb module pretty small, and you can't actually get to your cog. If that happens to you, hit the little purple button down here. We can go to wireframe mode, and there's our little blurb there. We can just get in that way. Once you're in there, just flip it back to whatever view you like to use. Okay, let's go over to our design and spacing. And what you can do is, again, if you roll over the dark writing and these icons pop up, hit the one that's a little mobile phone there. That gives you a desktop and a tablet and a mobile version. And you can set a different state for the tablet, and you can do the same thing on mobile. I think you'll find mobile will work fine. Remember, our column's got a fixed height here, so there's how to adjust it on different devices if you need to. So let's save those and exit again, and we're good to go. So there you go, guys. There's an image with icon to drop down to reveal text there. These little effects are great. If somebody's mousing around your site and something happens like that, it gets their attention very quickly, which is what you want in a website to engage people. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.